because when I share the screen, Jam will be part of it. Let me know when you're in.
Oh, okay. So Zoom has just like a straight up. I have an echo. Maybe.
Echo should be going away. Hold on 1 second. Try now. Zoom's doing this thing again. Hold on 1 second. I have to disconnect and reconnect. It'll work. We're going away. Hold on 1 second. Okay, say something.
Hello. Hello.
Interesting that you're not coming through my headphones again. Bizarre.
You sound very echoey.
You do sound echoey? Yeah, because you're coming through the.
You do, and I can hear myself after like a 5-second delay.
I know, because it's not using my actual speaker when it should be. It's not using the Bluetooth speaker at all. Now I think it's fixed.
Better. I can still hear myself.
Jam is doing the wrong thing. Okay, we're almost there. Try now.
Hello.
No.
Oh.
Try now.
Hello.
This is crazy.
No.
Jam goes through my speaker, but not this little Jam instance. I'm going to leave this room and restart it.
Okay, sounds good.
How about now? Yes, we nailed it. Okay. That was way more complicated than it should have been. So if you want to follow along to really tax your computer, here's the live stream. It's been real weird up till now, but we'll fix it in post. Really? Well, I guess we'll find out. I'm not sure. Okay, so taking video live here. Now on that live stream link, you should see me any second now. Just waiting for Zoom to catch up here. It looks like there's probably like a 30-second to maybe a minute-long delay, which is interesting. Yep, there I am. Okay, we'll just leave that in the background. It's doing its thing. Okay, now next step is to share screen. Show the whole desktop. We'll confirm what this looks like, and if it shows our little jammy jam, then we're in good shape. Great, and then we're off to the races. So let's just wait for this to catch up. Oh yeah, look at that. Okay. If I kill this, does it still do it? Is it gone now? Is it still happening? I'm not sure. Is it? Oh, let me mute Jam. Now you should only hear me through Zoom. Is that better? Okay. I think next time I'll set up my hardware for this, because this is challenging. Oh, now I can hear the echo on your end. Yeah. Can you mute Jam or Zoom? Pick your poison. No, actually, you want to unmute Zoom and mute Jam.
Great.
Because people want to hear you.
Oh, right. How do I? Oh. My computer is having a, it's like, what are you doing to me? Okay, how about that?
Let's see, testing.
Hello.
Perfect, okay.
Oh, there we go. Okay, we know the magical incantation.
We did it. We did it. It's weird. We're off. We're doing it.
Yep.
All right, so we are going to learn RedwoodJS. And
yeah.
Bam, there it is. And so for background, for any future people that come across this most amazing of streams, we are an Aaron.
And a Matt.
This is Matt Griffith.
Yep.
We work at Blissfully, which is a SaaS management company, and our stack is Lambda with TypeScript on the back end, serving up a GraphQL API through a library called JoinMonster, then serving to a front end built using Elm, which is a statically typed functional programming language. React, I think, drew a lot of inspiration from Elm, if I kind of recall correctly. And we're looking at Redwood for a couple of reasons. One is Redwood combines up some back-end technologies that we have an interest in, particularly Prisma, which is a GraphQL-ish ORM. It's probably underselling it a little bit, but we do a lot of data loading and saving, something that could play really nicely from the database layer, not only through our own logic, but actually contribute to our primary API, which speed up development cycles substantially. So we have an interest from that perspective. And we also have an interest in Redwood because Elm is developing all sorts of new libraries, tools, and tricks to make its front-end experience really special. Redwood, I think, has a lot of those special things baked in, so we think there's probably something we could learn from this. And I know, Matt has led the charge on sort of unifying all of our Elm architecture here, but you also have some ideas for how it could evolve in the future as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. All right. So should we start the tutorial, or do you want to just like go totally?
No, yeah, let's just jump in.
Okay, great. Oh man, video tutorial. I wasn't prepared for that. That's great. This is the tutorial, isn't it? Let me skip the video because I don't think video over video works particularly well, but we can come back to that. So let's do this way. Okay.
I don't think I've ever used Yarn Create. That's interesting.
Yeah, that was new to me too.
They have like a templating thing, I guess.
Yarn does? Interesting. So it installed Create Redwood app, which is interesting. Maybe it's some sort of like thing by convention.
Yeah.
However, my Yarn needs to be greater than 1.15, but I have 1.19.2 installed. Interesting. That seems like it should be compatible. Ah, here's the real error. Node 12 versus Node 10. So that's easily fixed. Okay. Let me just remove that in case something went wrong in there, and we'll start this anew.
Interesting.
So already we've learned something cool about Yarn.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I mean, it's basically just template projects, I guess.
Yeah, but not only a template project, but something that pulls in all the dependencies
Yeah, totally.
all at once. That's kind of a clever way to get going. So really the only dependency suddenly is just having Yarn. Well, outline. Okay, great. So go into Redwood blog, check. Now Yarn Redwood dev. Whoa, ho. Hey, nice.
Nice.
Okay, we're up. Let's get a second terminal going here. And pull up VS Code. I'll hide this off to the side. And I'll set this guy here. Okay. So the tutorial may actually line up nicely with this here. Great. So we're good. They want us to git save. We'll pause on that. Let's see, should we just sort of like hand-fistedly poke around the code base and see what we're working with here?
Yeah, totally. I'm definitely interested to sort of compare and contrast what we have at Blissfully versus what they just sort of naturally want, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Interesting to see it uses Netlify right out the box, which is cool. I'm excited to see what that'll do for some of the deployments. That actually does make me want to start a repo for this sooner rather than later, so I can see how it auto builds. Yeah, so I might actually get that going while we peruse through this. But let's keep going a little further. So the Netlify, what do they have here? Build. Okay. And I didn't see Prisma here. Did I miss something? Oh, there's sub packages. Got it.
So the screen share for me is on Zoom is I'm a little behind, just so you know. So.
Oh, you're gonna be really.
I don't think it's a problem. Just so you know, I'm not just like directly there with you. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's check out the backend first before we check out the front end.
Sure.
So an API, we have a whole new package file. Pretty straightforward, one dependency.
Yep.
All right. I see the Prisma config, which is cool. And it looks like we're using a SQLite database out of the box, which is nice. A lot less dependencies to work with here.
Yeah, that's great.
One model. Yeah, sure. Let's get a Prisma thing going. That'd be nice. And some data seeding, nothing in here. And then for the API, what do we have? We have services, lib, GraphQL, and GraphQL.js. It looks like we don't have much of anything yet.
Right.
All right. And then the front end. Redwood and React. Boom. And then our React index, index HTML, index CSS. And some layout, empty pages, mostly empty, it looks like. Some 404 stuff. Okay, cool.
Great.
So let's actually not tried this from inside here, but do you think I can create a new repo directly from within VS Code?
I guess I use those controls for like pushing and syncing and stuff,
Yeah.
but not for creating stuff.
This is funny. This is where like I've seen so many people who are so good at command line technology, and I want all the kids to know you don't need to be good at that stuff.
Yep.
Not really. So let's go ahead and add a repo here.
I have like the 3 git commands that I issue from the command line.
All right, so we'll publish this repository. Great. Cool. And now, I think we're going to go to my Okay, sweet. We're going to create a README. Wonderful. Okay. Next up. I think we poked through most of this already, which is good.
Yeah.
When you want to add package, go forward, use specify which workspace they go in. Yep, makes sense. Also, another new thing about Yarn that I wasn't aware of.
The workspaces?
Yeah, have you used that before?
No, I'm definitely curious. Like that's gonna be the big takeaway from this stream is like
just Yarn.
We figured out Yarn commands. Oh god. So what do they do? Is it just like dependencies for?
It's basically, yeah. It just looks like you can subdivide your project into decomposed package JSON files. So they have one for the back end, one for the front end, and then the main root one.
Right. Okay, that's cool.
We tend not to need this because our repos are split up along kind of project lines, and Redwood, since its whole MO is to kind of co-locate your front end and your back end for rapid application development.
Right.
It makes sense they need something like this.
Yep.
Okay. API is Prisma and source. Yep. We know a little bit about this already, which is good. Web has components, React components, layout, pages, public assets. That all checks out. Oh, cool. Now we can generate a page.
Yeah, the generation stuff that I was looking at, I'm like, okay, well, I know that's of interest, right?
Yeah, so let's see. I've got the git diff ready to go. Oh, I got to do my fault. Okay. Sweet. So what did this do for us? This changed routes to add a new route. Cool.
And there's a test.
Created the new page. And it created a test for us. Sweet. And it expects it to render the component.
Cool.
Nice. And check this out. It's live reloaded while we were not paying attention.
Nice. Yeah.
Which is cool. Actually, you know what I can do here? If I were a smarter person, I would know the keystrokes for this, but let's go with that being center third. Okay. Not pretty, but it's a start.
Yep.
Try changing the route. All right. So in routes, they want us to change it to home or hello. Makes sense that's not found. And there it is. All right.
Nice.
Next page. About. Where is about found? About. Great. Redwood automatically code splits on each page. Interesting. Wonder how we'd verify that. Okay, so now we're going to do a link from our home page. So let's set the home page back to root here. And now this is saying in our header and nav bar. Okay, so go to our home page. We want to step this up, and we're going to import their router. Cool. And then return something a little more complicated. This is interesting. Have you seen this sort of syntax before? Is that React specific?
That's JSX, yeah.
I haven't done much with that ever. Have you
Yeah,
spent any
I
time
mean,
with it?
before I made one website in React a very long time ago, right, sort of before switching to Elm. So a little history. It's kind of interesting. React originally had the concept where you actually, like in Elm, you were building up your DOM and functions, and it was explicitly like function calls to build your view. But people didn't dig that, and so they basically made it's kind of this syntactical sugar to basically, it's still functions being called, but people wanted it to look like HTML-ish stuff. So,
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. So this provides a link. Great. So routes.about function goes to about.
mm-hmm.
And I wonder if we go here. Oh, this router, we don't control this. This is an import from them.
Right.
So that means that this thing here is reading this somehow.
Yeah, that's interesting. So
how's it importing this deep in the library? It's a really interesting question.
yeah, like, so somehow routes knows about the defined routes we have. Yeah, that guy.
Okay, so a little bit of magic so far. Function components, React types.
The siren is drowning you.
God, yeah, so sorry. Recording in New York, not great.
Yeah,
all right.
right.
It's the link tag takes a 2-attribute named route function. Great.
Yeah. So far, that's we have that basically.
Yeah.
Like it's actually a very similar setup, except for whatever magic they're doing to basically make that import routes from out at RedwoodJS router thing, which I don't know what's going on, but essentially that's the same setup we have right now. We're sort of in like a intermediate phase with our routes, but that's the design we'll have. Just like link to stuff like that.
So here we could link back home. So let's go to our about page. I'm glad I'm getting some syntax highlighting here. I know it's not defined.
I got it. And yeah, there you go.
Oh, it's like that. No, because I don't have the space.
Right.
Okay.
Nice. Okay.
That's fast. All right. layouts. All right, because we would have created, if I followed those instructions to the T, we would have created a duplicate header.
Okay, so layouts.
Let's create.
This is like a view function.
So I'm going to run this generator. I might have been wishing I committed a little bit as we went, but here we go. We have blog layout. Just got created. Which, given a set of children, wraps them and returns them. Cool. And this is where we can insert all this jazz.
Sure. Yeah.
It's almost funny they don't auto-include these imports, given how likely you already used them. I guess Winter would complain.
Yeah.
All right. So we have our first layout. And now I'm guessing we want our home page to use this layout. Oh, it's just a regular old React component, looks like.
Yep. Yep.
Cool. And then we can do something similar for about. So what did I do here? Did this. Get that import. And then we'll have that sort of wrap. Replace that div actually. I'll do that.
All right.
Def to divs.
Nice.
Heyo.
Cool.
That's an interesting design choice.
Which one?
That even though they put things in slash pages, they affix page as a suffix to them, so that when you're looking at your open things in the editor, you can lean on the file names instead of having to know the path.
Interesting.
Okay,
Yeah.
so now we're going to jazz up our layout. Make sure we have that in there. So Redwood blog will now take us home. If I can figure out how copy paste works. Cool. Right. Got it. Okay. All right, DB schema time. You ready?
Let's do it.
Okay, so we're going to create a blog post schema. Oops. And the way to do that is to define the structure first. Makes sense. So model post has an int ID, which is the ID, and defaults to auto permanent. Title, body, that. Okay.
So this is like
Straightforward.
what Prisma not only generates the models from, but also generates the GQL schema from.
Yeah, yeah. This is like a combination of like the table definition will generate the migrate and will generate the ORM bits as well.
Right. That's cool.
All right, so we've done all that. Looks like we're going to want yarn redwood db save. Because we haven't done anything yet. So there's probably no database at all yet.
Okay, so I'm assuming DB save their Prisma, I'm assuming.
This is Prisma running now.
Yeah. Is,
Wrapped through Redwood. But
right. So it's introspecting its schemas, doing a diff, and then creating a migration. Is that?
yeah, and in fact, let me go ahead and do something here real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Let's take everything we've done so far, committed under
Oh, just to like see how it progresses.
yeah, because I suspect when we fire off this command, we're going to see a
Some
like
stuff.
a SQL-like file get generated in the end. So let's say yes to that. Create the database. Name migration. Create posts. Okay, what happened? Number one, it created the steps file, which is part of the migration.
Okay, so symbolic representation of what's going on, I guess. Yep. Create field, create model. Okay.
We modified this, no surprise there. We have
So
a Prisma migrate lock file.
Yeah.
And then,
I guess they want the steps symbolic in case you like change databases. You can replay everything, I guess.
yeah. And this is kind of cool. They created a README file for this.
Okay. Oh, cool. Yeah, having the concrete SQL is nice.
Yeah, not just that, but also shows you like the
diff.
the commit delta
Mm-hmm.
on the Prisma file.
That's nice. Yeah, for sure.
I'm thinking this is probably a Prisma feature. But this is
Yeah, I think it's definitely a Prisma thing, but still good.
all right, cool. Now we want to run yarn rw db up. I thought we had done this one already.
Yeah.
Upside down. Migrated. Cool. Done. Scaffold. Okay, so this looks really interesting. This looks like it's going to take something and create all the CRUD for us, pages included. You ready for this magic?
Yeah, let's do it.
So Redwood generate scaffold for the post data model. All right, bunch of stuff generated here. Wow, quite a bit actually.
Yep.
So let's just take a look here. So I'll stage the stuff that we know got generated before this.
Yeah.
And I'll call this that. And now we can see just these. So first of all, it generated some default schema for manipulating posts. Type
So
post matches what we defined.
Okay. So we just basically said create like a generic entity called post, and it's like, okay, I'm assuming you want all this functionality.
Yeah, it actually, I bet that post referenced the name of the table. We created a table named post for
Okay.
that thing we defined. So just to pull that up again real quick. We defined this. So I think what it did is it referenced this and introspected this stuff.
Okay.
And using that, it created the GraphQL things to do create, update, delete,
Right.
including the query type, the queries,
Mm-hmm.
load by ID, and then the create and update inputs. Right. Done.
That's cool.
All the JavaScript that backs that, it created that automatically. And so this is using what's returned from Prisma to serve up this GraphQL resolvers.
Right. So that, right. Okay.
Testing bootstrapped up, great. Loaded our Scaffold CSS, so I imagine we get a pretty UI in a second here.
Hmm.
And then we got some new pages. So let's check this out, actually. Ooh.
Okay.
Nice.
Cool.
Okay. So we got all these plus all this UI for free.
Yeah.
This is the CSS that drives it. This is a component that handles the query, update, etc. On completed, navigate here, show the form. So here's the new one form. Or the new post page, actually. This is this new post form. Sorry, the new post component from the new post page. There we go. Using their layout, which is interesting because it means that the scaffold doesn't share layouts between types. So we could rapidly iterate this layout.
Mm-hmm.
And yet if we had it for other components, they'd be isolated still.
Right.
Here we go. Looks like we have some AirHandling, which is interesting. Also, it seems to know that created as a special name and not to display it.
Right.
It's not something we can add. Yeah, that did a lot. That was a big command. Okay. It's interesting that it uses SDL files, I think, because I sort of thought the trend line was towards TypeScript driving all this.
Right. So SDL is that schema language? Wait.
Schema definition language.
Okay.
We use the same technique presently. We tend to define this and then make sure the resolvers back it up.
Right.
But what I know that Prisma and Nexus are doing is they are working to use TypeScript definitions to then generate the schema definition. So it fully flows that way.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was exploring with Rust and the Juniper GraphQL stuff. And in that case, it's you define Rust types and it auto generates schemas from those, right? But there, like with Rust, the type system is expressive enough that it feels pretty straightforward. It's like, because like anything you could represent in GraphQL, you could represent in Rust types, right? So.
Okay, cells.
What's a cell?
They're common to most web apps.
Cells are common. Yeah, okay.
Now, this looks a lot like the web result type.
Yeah, that's it's a, yeah, remote data. Enum.
Yeah, that's the one.
With enum without the enum part. It's really, but though this is the rendering part, so right?
Yeah, the query and the rendering.
Because that's, so basically we're assuming these are sort of special names that are functions to render these different states. So in Elm, right, this would just be like a,
yeah. And did we see that? That means we should have seen these while it was loading. Yeah, I saw it flash the loading. I don't know if you can see that. It's a little hard, but it's there.
right.
Yeah, this is really interesting. So PostCell, who's calling PostCell? That's what I want to know. Post is doing some stuff. But where's PostCell referenced? Post page shows a cell. Got it, I think.
Yeah.
Not the posts page, plural. Oh, it does. It does posts cell. So we have two cells we're looking at here. Post cell and post cell.
Right.
And this one was a little smarter because the empty state
Has, yeah, like a nice,
although interestingly, you notice that there's no, it's not exactly the same as the other one.
right.
We have loading and empty and success. Oh no, I guess they are the same. I thought I'd see like a failure state, but I guess not.
Yeah, that's interesting. So is there just not a failure state?
See, here they call it PostNotFound, which is weird because the schema says that if you load a post by ID, you go back to that SDL.
Yeah, it has to return one. Yeah.
It has to return one. So it's not really about empty. It's about like error.
It's,
so
yeah,
actually,
that's kind of unfortunate, but
yeah.
probably not too uncommon in JavaScript, I would imagine.
Now, it looks like we can't even get to that empty. We see this instead. So it actually is handling the error somehow.
Right.
So this is just like dead code.
Yep.
So it performs the query and displays the loading component until a response is received. So this is some magic here. As long as you name it query, the cell will always do this stuff by convention.
Right. Making a bold statement with their all caps find post by ID. Oh,
looks like there's some hooks we could use for before and after. To massage
that's cool.
Data. Yeah.
That's, yeah. So, I mean, I guess in Elm, we would just have messages that are on both sides anyway, so.
Right. So it looks like they want us to create a new cell called blog posts. Plural. So we now have a blog post cell, which I'll just open up fully. Oops. Okay. Cool. But we don't have a thing here called posts. So we need to change this. Actually, I'd almost rather watch it fail. Let's try something. Let's skip ahead a little bit here. Yeah, for our home page, this is what they're recommending, right? So let's do that. Let's go watch this do its thing. So we're going to show blog posts cell. And this auto explode in our face. No, for the obvious reason, which is I failed to import it. Cool. That's correct. There is no such thing. I would have expected a little bit more than that 400.
Yep.
But if I go here and rename this to that, this query should succeed, this renderer should fail.
So
because it's not called blog post, it's called post now. Okay. Well, that's by choice. That's what this code's doing right now.
Oh yeah. I guess that's true.
We can get as fancy as we want in JSX land, I think, right?
I think so.
You know, I'll be honest, I'm not even sure how to do this.
Yeah, I'm. There we go. Cool.
It's not.
Oh no. Oh, there's
it's
probably
not that.
typing, right? Like.
What is the? I'm such a React noob. How do they?
They're just passing arguments in there. Okay, it's just brackets.
And this is actually a list that we're going to want to iterate over, but we'll get to that in a second. Well, I got nothing now.
Oh, we're not pulling down. Yeah, there you go. You're not pulling down title on the query.
Got it. Good call. Yeah, all right. All right, all right. So my feedback for Redwood would be to make a better distinction between some of the different errors here. It's a little unclear what something went wrong meant.
Right.
That's, I mean, error states are hard. The rest is pretty slick. All right, so let's get the rest. Okay. Now, if we do what they want, we can see a lot more. So, great. Okay. Now we'll render something slightly smarter. I'm not sure what happened to my React here, but there we go. Yeah, let's make another post.
Good post.
That's a good point. We really hadn't had to do any backend plumbing at all.
Yeah.
That was pretty spectacular. So here they actually take the service approach to separating out common logics. Okay, so we kind of went over all this before.
Yeah.
Let's do that. So what do we get now? We got a new route blog post.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to link to it from the title. Sweet. That'll be fun. I did not import a link. Do we know if Redwood's compatible with TypeScript?
I have no idea. Let me check. I think they have an open issue for it. Let me check. All right. Yeah, they're tracking TypeScript, so maybe
Okay.
in the future.
So this is neat. So I got that link working. That was really simple, but it didn't do anything yet. But now, if we want, we can be smart, put that ID of what we're loading into the URL.
Right.
And then when we try to route there, and hopefully this should error it if I go there. No, it doesn't. It just fails to do the replacement. So but here, I guess you could pass in ID equals post.id.
Right.
Cool. Okay, so now we need the cell. So this is our web result for blog post, which I guess they're training us up here to have a non-one-to-one abstraction between the tables and names of things we're working with.
Right.
So here, right, here's what we're going to do. This query will take as a parameter an ID of type int, which we'll call our GraphQL with that. And then our rendering, just be the stringify for now. Oh, and then we're going to use that on the page. So blog post. So Imports, man.
Yep.
Guess the red was trying to tell me something. Okay. We got an error. And what is the error? Ah, this is the error. We didn't do this little bit of magic here. So the routes don't actually auto-thread into the query, which is good. That would have been weird. They come into the page. And then from the page, these attributes are the parameters to that GraphQL
Right.
predefined query template.
Which is like bonkers coming from Elmland, but that's okay.
This,
Like it's
you know,
your view code is making
it's a little different
enemies
over
almost.
here.
Like, yeah.
Interestingly, this still didn't work. So let's figure out why here. Let's go to that blog post cell. This took an ID, put it into here. Now, maybe we've been running Redwood here, right? So let's clear this and see if we can get the error. Cannot represent non-integer value 2, which is a string. Well, that checks.
Huh.
Why didn't it convert that?
So we need to do like parse int somewhere.
Well, it feels like this is the problem.
Yeah. So maybe parse int there, or something.
Let's clear this and try again. This looks like it worked. And in fact, you can see it executing the right Prism calls.
Right.
So why did the render here now go sideways? Aha. So blog post cell. Didn't, because this is not this. It's
Cool.
Seems like maybe just an error in the docs here.
Yep.
Oh, no.
Oh, there you go.
Param types. Oh, that's even crazier from an Elm perspective.
Yeah.
We don't do this. We let the router do.
They're going to provide a string which has type coercion
Hints on it.
like hints on it. Yeah. That's cool though.
That's
I mean, I can see where like that's. So basically defaulting to string, I suppose.
Does make it seem like a transition to TypeScript could be challenging.
Yeah, it's like that's like the exact thing where it's like all of a sudden you're, God, this isn't even like stringly typed. This is like typing your stringly types. I don't know. It's like we have type annotations inside strings.
Now we can define our blog post component. I think we've seen what this does, but let's just do it real quick anyway.
Sure, yeah.
Oops. Close the terminal. Okay. So we want to just beef this component up to do a nice little render on a blog post, which is great, and then blog posts. Blog posts cell can now use that instead of doing it inline. So what key means here.
Yeah, I don't know.
So this should
Oh,
be on our homepage.
that might be like Elm's key. Maybe it's like a keyed node. It's like a React thing.
Could be.
So for like bookkeeping for.
And then for blog post cell, we're just going to do that. And so we're consistent rendering now on our homepage and in the individual blog post. Cool.
There we go.
Uh-oh, forms.
Oh boy.
All right, we're doing a contact page, it looks like.
I guess so, yeah.
Okay. Let me, really granular with my commit messages. Okay, we've got a contact page now. Cool. I guess we're going to put it into our header. So let's go back to our blog layout. Whoa, wrong spot. Maybe it wants to be its own ally.
Yeah, it's got to be another list element. This item, I suppose.
There we go. Okay, cool. Check. Then our contact page would use our blog layout. Yeah, I'll import.
Nice.
Cool. So it should look a little nicer. Bam. Okay. Forms in React are infamously annoying to work with. Good news, I have no expectations. I'm expectation free. All right, before we start, let's go to CSS classes to make the default form layout cleaner and save us from making a bunch of style attributes. I don't mind that at all. Okay. Everybody. Go. So on our contact page, we're going to use form.
Okay. Got to import it.
Okay. Form is invisible. Text field. Let's try that. Gotta import it, Aaron. Cool.
Okay, we got a text field. Fantastic.
Didn't submit. All right. Aha. Okay. Before I screw this up.
Okay.
Not sure what it's doing, if anything. It looks just okay right now.
Yeah.
Let's see. Callback is not a function. We need to fire it on submit. That makes sense. Here we go. Okay. So this is a local function in scope of this function. We're going to call it.
Okay, so just great.
Okay. Nice to have some labels. Oh, there they are. Okay, checks out.
Cool.
Validation, nice and easy. What do you think about this HTML construct? I've always hated it.
Which one? Just
It's
annotating
like
required?
an attribute with no value.
Oh, yeah, I always felt it was kind of weird. I mean, I guess it makes sense, right? Because basically what they want there is like a unit or something, because it's like required equals true, or you basically have required equals true, and then it's just implicit in required equals false, right? Like, I guess.
Yeah.
But, it's weird.
Okay, so now we can upgrade these.
Okay.
Should do the same thing. Oh, just takes us there now.
Interesting.
Field error. New import. What do you do, field error? You show the errors for a field. So it checks out. Hey. Okay. Cool. Provide some class names on these guys.
Yep.
Let's see what this does. Ooh, goes red.
Mm. So it just sort of like implicitly understands that it is errorable, right?
Yep. because of the validation.
Right. Well, also
And
probably.
presumably this lifts the value off of whatever's going on here.
Yeah. Yep.
Let's see what they want us to do here. They want us to import a label type. Looking a lot like Elm now. You don't really ever code in HTML. Here you can mix and match a little more, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is label. Name is name. It also now has an error class name. And it goes red.
Oh.
There's a lot of red, sea of red. We'll skip the rest. Okay, validation patterns.
Yep. So regex type
Yep.
stuff.
It's for the email one, I'm assuming. Let's set the pattern. Oh, that was kind of fun. Actually, live updates that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's cool.
Okay. Mode blur, what do you think this does?
Right. So it doesn't happen immediately.
Okay, so now we're actually going to hold these contacts, it looks like. All right, ready? We're getting back into the heavy lifting. So model contact has an ID, which is an int, which is the ID, and increments. Okay. Yarn. Name of migration. Create contacts. Okay. Yarn DB up. Yarn Redwood DB up.
Cool.
Okay. Cool. And now we're going to scaffold this up using the totally unnecessary abbreviation for Redwood, generate, and scaffold.
Right.
Oh no. Scaffold will, this SDL command will not create the scaffold. This will just create the GraphQL element. This is different. Cool. Yeah, so chiefly it created this for a public API.
Right.
And the service to back it. So now for some reason we're going to hand type our own mutation. I'm not exactly sure why we're doing this, but let's do it. Because it did create the inputs for us.
Right.
Okay. And then, yep, checks out. If we create that, we need to create the matching service. Cool, we get an automatic GraphQL playground.
Cool.
On a different port.
Right.
Yeah. So let's try this. Okay.
Cool.
Now we're going to go to our contact page. And we're going to add this notation that creates this. Yeah. Ooh, now it's getting interesting. Look at this. Const create is an action.
Right.
And who's going to use that?
On submit, maybe? Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Which is a client-side piece of code. What? So let's see this. So you're telling me that if I query for contacts, I have nothing now. And I still have nothing.
Is it erroring?
That's a good question. Oh, no. Did this even fire anything off to the server, I wonder? No. It's like it didn't even do the thing.
Mm. Okay. Maybe it just didn't load initially or something.
Still don't. Oh, it did do a post. Now it did a post.
Yeah, I think it might be there now. Cool.
Weird. Wonder what the issue was. Okay. And this will do what, I wonder? Disabled is when loaded. Cool. So this will give you Booleans or functions that auto update as
sure.
this is used.
Right.
I kind of like that for us. That seems like a convenient pattern.
Yeah, I mean, we have that, right? Because it's like the data coming in is usually wrapped in the graph data, right?
Right, it's on our model. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
All right, so let's do this here. All right, here's where this thing teaches me a whole new Chrome trick while we're at it. We're going to be on 2G.
Nice.
Ready?
Yep.
2G is still too fast.
Yeah.
Is this bad? No, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, we gotta trust that it's loading.
And you can pass to the mutation callbacks.
Right.
And actually, I'm curious to see the redirect ultimately that we're going to want here at some point in the future. There we go. Okay, so this is how we use server-side validation now.
Right.
No magic at all here.
Yep.
Displaying errors. Okay, we're error handling.
Clearing the form. So state management.
What is this form methods thing?
So I guess that's from the React hook form.
Oh, I see. We have to like upgrade our
Form to use some additional functionality. Yep.
admin routes. So this is just turning things we did with our original thing into admin.
Mm-hmm.
Fine. Okay, deployment. So yeah, somewhere to host the DB. We could skip all this. I think this is really meaningful to us right now. It does get a Netlify. So you provide Netlify with your database credentials?
Yeah, I guess so.
this I wish we had for us, branch deploys. This is pretty exciting.
All right. Yeah, Netlify is pretty cool. I remember messing around with it a little bit ago.
Let's see where we're at in this thing. Authentication, last piece. Redwood automatically integrates with Auth0 and Netlify Identity. I didn't know Netlify offered an identity piece.
Yeah, neither.
Enable identity. We'll invite users. Oh, dude, I need to tell some friends about this one. This is complicated. Acquire auth. Cool.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll have to play around with Netlify identity on its own time.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll do this.
Well, cool stuff. Well, what part of this, like for me, I think that the stuff that I'm most intrigued about is like the Prisma part, right?
Yeah.
But like,
so for you, the scaffolding, all that, that's just sort of like code generation. We have that.
Yeah, and we could have more of that. I think which could be cool. You know, one thing I was sort of thinking about, you know, it is nice to have just the raw GQL as the query there, because it's so easy to write like a GraphQL query or mutation. I've been thinking about this as we've been doing our stuff, or like as I've been like basically moving all of our pages to our new page architecture. Is that something that we may want to seriously, like, okay, so what pages were actually really challenging? Like, where did it get really hairy for us? And I kind of have this feeling that it gets hairy when there are certain, this isn't entirely true, but there are certain circumstances where we were basically letting the GQL types kind of dictate how we were modeling our stuff. So not using Elm's full type machinery because we're like, we already have these types. We're not going to model it correctly. And now we all of a sudden have all these weird states because we can't represent unions correctly and I was thinking about it. So I'm like, okay, well, that's interesting. And if there's this idea of like, okay, well, writing the GQL query itself is super fast and nice and feels great. And like the idea that we've talked about a long time of like generating stuff from that query. Right. So if I can write a query, generate a bunch of stuff. So I was thinking about it, like, it might make sense for us to have like a little query reader, which can generate, like, can know when we've already essentially like created a fragment for like a person stamp. Right. So it's like, we can always like, you can just say like select person.
Include and auto translate into that thing.
It would just, and also here's where we could take it to be like even crazier. Where if we have patterns like, oh, here's our standard way where we represent, essentially we're encoding like a tagged union type, but like we can't do that in GQL. It's like, well, great. We can have that still in our query language, and it would just do the automatic translation in Elm.
So the you know, I prototyped up some chunk of that code, right?
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I remember you saying that.
And what I did with it, it's interesting. What I ended up doing the next phase, like I think the ultimate thing I was trying to get to is like just crazy fast prototyping. So not only could you write the GQL query and it would auto create the query, maker decoder combo.
Yeah.
But then it would generate the type structures to load it into. Okay. And then it would generate view code based on that. Now, instead of view code, what you'd want is to say, well, this fragment, when you see it, translate it to this type, and here's how it works, and then
Yeah.
we're done. I mean, we could build that. We
Yeah,
have the tools.
Yeah, and I think it might fit nicely with our kind of our GQL push with some of this stuff, if sort of we're focusing on nailing that aspect of the app, right? Like, anyway, I was just sort of thinking like where's the big gold architecturally, at least. It might be there, maybe not. I don't know.
Cool. I'm excited to make it happen.
Yeah.
I'm going to stop the share real quick. I'll stay
Yeah.
on this and unmute.
Yeah, I'll leave the